Hey, welcome back, you 40K fanatics.
It's Shane and Casey for another week of 40K and miniature hobby type stuff.
And things.
We did 2 weeks in a row that we did our little Versus series, and it's a thing that we'll probably come back to. But today we've got a classic old Fix 40K main topic. Not that there's anything wrong with 40K. I want to start off by saying that I think that the game is probably, and I've heard consensus to this point, that the game's better than it's ever been as far as balance and as far as attention that it's getting. I was not around for the before times when you would get a codex in one edition and then you might be 2 editions later before you got another one. That seemed difficult. There's a mosquito eating me.
Yeah, would you do bathing cologne or something?
I don't know.
Dude, I am totally fine over here.
I don't think they're interested in scents, to be honest.
Just one. No, that's like a thing. Mosquitoes love like colognes and like deodorants and stuff because if they're scented, they remind them of the pheromones. That's why a lot of clothes in the military are often treated so that they can avoid stuff like that.
So you smell funky, so he doesn't want you.
Well, I've been working all day, as is the common man. Anyways.
If you have no preamble, we might as well get to the bits box.
Yeah, let's open up that bits box because I got something a little bit important to say. So,
the bits box is where we talk about what we've done this week in the hobby. Go ahead, Casey.
So, on a lower note, just going to bring it out there. James Earl Jones died this week, which is very rough for all of you Star Wars fans. He was, and Conan fans. Man, I love Conan the Barbarian.
He looked ridiculous in that movie.
He did, but he owned that role, I'm just saying. So, and many of you know him as the voice of Darth Vader. He was also in things like The Sandlot, and he sung You're a Mean One, Mr. Grinch for The Grinch Stole Christmas back in the day. But, yeah, so I just like to bring up, and let's just like have a moment of silence for just like a little bit for that, just to appreciate him.
Yeah, I mean, maybe have a moment of silence on your own time, as you may, because this is an audio medium, and moments of silence are not what we want, but he was 93.
He was, yes.
It was a good run. He was absolutely excellent.
Yeah, I was shocked when my wife told me, and I asked how old. The first thing out of my mouth was actually how old he was. I did not know he was 93.
Well, he's one of those guys that has been like 60 years old as long as we've been in existence, which it turns out is actually about right. So when I was born, he would have been 57.
Yeah. He was a very talented guy, very cool guy, but maybe he could have done something 40K in the future. But all of you nerds out there, we've lost somebody, and, let's, remember him well. But in the rest of my hobby today, or this week, I've been working on that Silent King that has been a lot, and Shane had a few words to say about it.
Yeah.
Before he
I think I just
dies.
nailed a mosquito. Oh, no. Tell them more about the Silent King.
Silent King has been great. It's been fun. I'm ready to start on something else because it really has been a labor of love. Necrons are slowly becoming my least favorite faction to paint, but we'll see. Just a few touch-ups. He should be done in a few days.
I am absolutely suffering over here. This mosquito is destroying me.
I'm having the best time over here,
I don't think that he's alone. I don't know why I come and subject myself to this particular recording scenario. I need you to leave your child and family so that you have no hindrance to come and record at my house.
Yeah, that's true. I was thinking about that today.
If you could just go ahead and derail your entire situation, that would be great. That Silent King needed to be painted in pieces. So I know you guys can't see it. Maybe Casey will post a little Whip Wednesday action of it, but it came to him fully assembled, and the Silent King is not meant to be that way. He's got little dudes off to the sides who are standing behind guardrails, and I don't know how you're going to really get in there on some of that stuff.
Yeah.
And the amount that you're going to... Here's the part that really sucks. The amount that you're going to be able to get up in there and paint is going to be so difficult, and you're just barely going to be able to get paint on it. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I get you.
I wonder if
I'm
you
the one
got
painting it. Yeah.
yeah. Well, I wonder if you got yourself a one of those straight knives. You know, not the regular X-Acto knife, but like the flat one. It's just ridiculous.
Man, it is really. You probably need to take a walk or something, dude.
I don't know what needs to happen.
all
This
over
is
you.
insane.
And again, I'm fine, ladies and gentlemen.
But I wonder if you could cut those guys off of their little plinth so that you could pull them out and paint them.
But yeah, that's I've been doing that, and that's been great. On a side note, it is September 11th, so again,
Rip.
Somber note again. I don't know why I'm making the pod so depressing this week, but yes, it is September 11th, and as you know, 2 days ago, Space Marine 2 came out, and I've been playing like a madman. It's been great.
I'm out of town the next 2 weekends, but I intend to get it because it does look good. It seems to be what I would have liked to have in the first one. As you guys know, I just played the first one very recently, like in the last 2 weeks, and did not like it one bit. It felt very dated and very clunky, and the new one appears to have all the quality of life that you would expect from some decade or so of video game development.
Yeah,
Overall.
I'm playing on normal difficulty, and it seems kind of hard. And I don't know if it's because it's actually harder or it's because I'm old now. Which, yeah, I bet you probably struggle with a bit.
No, I'm handy dandy on games. I don't know what you're talking about.
Okay.
I got no kids.
But we'll probably do a pod someday and talking about the review or something, once I'm done. I'm like halfway through the game right now.
Yeah, there's the other thing too is while it seems like it would make sense for us to do a Space Marine 2 review, absolutely everybody on the internet has done a Space Marine 2 review, so maybe ours coming later
Let
will
it breathe.
Yeah.
Let it breathe.
Yeah. Around the time that people start, around the time that IGN starts putting out articles on the other side of the argument.
Oh, yeah. I saw Chapter Master Valrak. He put like 3 videos out in like 2 days about stuff, like just multiplayer content and stuff. It's crazy. But
I did some painting yesterday. I painted one of my new characters for my Night Haunt Age of Sigmar dudes. I did Moon Knight from Marvel Crisis Protocol. I don't care anything about Moon Knight. I was not crazy about that MCU show.
Loved it.
So it was fine, except it was another one that spent all its time trying to give you the next show. And I thought that was poor. We went on and on with nothing happening, and then
Mr. Moon Knight is great.
Yeah, I'm not crazy about Moon Knight, but I did have him to paint, and being that he's mostly white with some various colors, I thought that he would be a good test model for the ghosts that I need to do, as I've got some various characters to do for Night Haunt. And so I tried to do him black and then put some purple on him and then try to airbrush white all over him.
I like it.
My idea being that he would have this sort of like purpley undertone, rather than just gray, being so grayscale. And it didn't really sell. So I think the move is to do the white and then do the purple and then do the white again, possibly. So that may be what I do. That's a little bit what I did for that Night Haunt ghost. He's green. I did some dry brushy green over the top of his green. That way he didn't just look like that flat, matte, airbrushed green that you can sometimes get, or any color with airbrush. I find that it's very easy to get a matte, cloudy look if you're not careful. If you just try to let the airbrush do a little too much work. So that's what I did. I also played Old World last week. The homie Austin brought that over. That was fun.
Play goblins?
I played goblins. He played dwarves. He had 2 500-point lists of goblins, or of dwarves and goblins. And my takeaway was that the archers were not worth having. But it was fun. I lost. I didn't realize that you had to destroy whole units to score points, and sent one of my units in to die, and that was the ball game. I think it will be very fun when they finally make some high elves for me to buy, and I can and I can do that. And the high elves are on the roadmap. And we've not talked about these roadmaps yet, but just to touch on them, the 40K, Age of Sigmar, Old World, new Kill Team roadmaps that were released at Nova.
I don't care what Austin says, they're all connected.
I think it was funny how they were like, 2024, we're going to do no more.
Really?
But then in January, etc., we've got roadmap.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's so strange. It was like a tacit acknowledgement that the release schedule's been kind of crazy. They've been putting out stuff heavy, fast, and heavy.
Out of the woodwork sometimes.
Yeah, stuff just coming constantly. And it seems that just looking on the internet, it seems like people are a little bit fatigued with just the rate they've been putting stuff out, If you bought...
Wallets can't handle it.
Yeah. If you bought Agents of the Imperium stuff, you don't even have that stuff built, and now it's Blood Angel stuff.
Yeah.
And so then they put out these roadmaps, and it's like, okay, so for 2024, we're not doing anything else. But then we're back at it in January, and I'm thinking... Do you guys just need another storage room or something? Like why don't you just spread out what you've got a little more?
I'm eager to see what they do for the holidays this year. It's always epic, so let's see what they do.
Yeah, one of our best pods was the holiday boxes and what's in them, which seems like such low hanging fruit.
The Red Gobbo.
Yeah, I hope they come out with some holiday boxes so we can talk about them. It's the easiest podcast we do. Other than that, I played Blood Bowl today. Played the homie Gabe. He played the Legended Army Tomb Kings that he 3D printed entirely, which I feel some kind of way about that. He did have them painted.
No, you don't know.
They were fine. Like I played my Elven Union and pulled it out 2-1.
Well, there you go.
Blood Bowl is very silly. He kept beating up my elves and knocking them off the pitch, and then they would come back, and that was great. At the very end, we ended up in this parallel universe situation where it was the very last turn. Well, it was my last turn. He had one last turn. But the ball was so far up the pitch that even if some disaster had befallen me, he was not going to be able to score. So the game was tied 1-1, and I had two different ways that I could maneuver my guys, but either way required me to roll a 2+ 2 times with no rerolls. And so I called Austin over. He was working on his on more of his dwarf units for Old World, and I said, all right, we're in parallel universe. I have to not roll 1 twice, and I win the game. Either because this guy dodges out of the tackle box or he rushes twice to get into the end zone. And so I rolled it twice, a 4 and a 3, and that was the ball game.
That was a game.
So that was fun. Blood Bowl is silly every single time.
There's a league going on nearby, and I really been meaning to jump into it with my orcs or goblins, black orcs. That's what it is, black orcs that I got.
Yeah, you got to bring those over and play them at the house.
I really do.
Are they fully painted?
They are fully painted now.
That's plus 3 points, Not many people know that.
We need to jump on that, man.
It's not true. That's all I got for my bits box. Also, me and Austin are going to try to make an alien game.
There you go. That'd be pretty cool. Kind of like Romulus. You watched that the other day, didn't you?
I did see that. It was quite good. Yeah. Yeah, the idea is that it's going to be a little asymmetric sort of thing, maybe.
Boy, we're talking about a lot of old movies today, aren't we?
Yeah, we're very fun.
So, closing up the bits box.
I'll be honest with you guys. This is going to be a short podcast because I am 8 up.
Yeah, man. That mosquito is right on his ear, and it is going ham.
It's been on my ear so many times.
Face.
I'm so tired of this already. I'm never coming back. This is the last episode of the podcast.
You know why this happened, too.
I don't. I don't know.
Anyways. What are we talking about?
We're talking about fixing 40K.
Yes.
And I've got a little preamble of why I'm feeling this way, because I tend to believe that 40K is quite good.
Bust out the spackle, bust out the hammer and the nails.
Yeah, I mean, here's the thing, though. I'm going to let you guys behind the curtain a little bit. We have to make this podcast every week because we've decided that that's what we do every week.
Yeah.
And so we have to have topics. And
you guys don't give us any.
Yeah, you guys don't give us any. Get in the comments and give us some topics because we need suggestions. We'll talk about literally anything. But I had this thought the other day, and here goes my preamble why I want to fix 40K this week. I played the homie Austin, not Austin that does our YouTube, but a different Austin. He used to play Necrons all the time, and I wanted to play my new Fortification because that's super meta.
Yeah,
and competitive.
What is it?
The Noctilith Crown. It does nothing. It just costs some points. My list made no sense. It was a total meme list. I thought he knew that. I thought I had made that clear. He was apologizing to me by the third turn because he brought Aldari Darklance cheese. He brought maximum amount of boats, tons of dudes, all the cheesy stuff that you can get. And that got me to thinking because the Darklance is an Aldari weapon that tends to hit on 3s or 4s, but of course it's a Drukhari weapon. I'm sorry. Is it called the Bright Lance for Aldari? I don't know, but it's the same thing. It hits on 3s and 4s. Its strength 12, I want to say. The big takeaway is that it's D6 plus 2 damage. It's better than a las cannon. And he brought 24 of them.
Oh.
Oh,
no.
Yeah, there are units of 5 little dudes that have wings. I don't know what any of these things are called because I'm not a elf guy in anything but Old World and Dungeons and Dragons. But these guys have a move, shoot, move, and you empower them with your what is it? With your pain tokens or whatever, and you get to reroll hits. And each unit of 5 can have 4 Dark Lances, and all of it is cheap as chips. And so I'm feeling a little salty about that because he deleted literally everything he looked at every turn of the game.
Scourges?
Yeah, Scourges, I think, are some of it. The boats have got Dark Lances, which I'm not so upset about the boats because the boats are like theoretically tanks, except they cost nothing. And then the little units...
Dope model, though.
The little units of dudes who also get to have some Dark Lances, they cost nothing. And you would think, okay, so they do this incredible damage output. They must be easy to kill. Well, you would think so, except... their various transports are so cheap that you'd never take a unit without a transport, and so they're super mobile, tough as vehicles, and shoot better than las cannons.
Jeez.
I said, do you know how many points it would take for me to take 24 las cannon or las cannon equivalent things? It would be impossible. But this got me saying, if Wargear costs something again, a Dark Lance would probably be 30 points apiece.
There you go. I kind of missed that, if I'm being honest. Sure, it was complicated, overly complicated, made things a little rough, but it was just kind of fun, tuning up different characters and things on your army to just have little doodads and gewgaws.
All right, so it's my first part of my Fix 40K for today. I've got 3 things that I want changed, and I've got 1 thing that I don't want changed, and we're just going to speculate today and give thoughts, and we want to hear thoughts. What do you think if you change this? What would happen? That sort of thing is what we're doing. What if this was stuff that was introduced in the 11th edition of 40K? So, that's how I've got one that I don't ever want changed. But Wargear should cost. Why should Wargear cost? 1... I think this is the most important thing. It's introduced a de facto power level system. Even though we have a points cost, what it is power level from 9th edition, where a unit is some number, and that's the number that it is relative to your list building. Because it creates this situation where you can determine a loadout that makes a unit... I'm sorry. You can make one best loadout, and it's obvious, and therefore that unit only has one configuration. Then when laid out over an entire army, you can very easily see what units are ostensibly better than others. And that's not real cool, because you end up in situations where if you had a unit that could take, say, 1 Dark Lance, but this unit can take 4, then you absolutely never take the one that takes 1 because 4 is better. Because the other weapons are pants. In the case of the Drukhari, I think if they were like, hey, you can only take one of each special weapon, which is how it is in a lot of Chaos Space Marine stuff. With exception of the Havocs, they can take 4 las cannons. But then I don't think they go in transports. And they're slow. And they're easy to kill. And they're expensive. But take this for anything. There's absolutely no reason to have any kind of character that doesn't have a power fist. Because the power fist tends to be the best thing.
Right.
So all your chainsword, hammer, whatever. I mean, you could still model it on there, I guess, depending on how WYSIWYG everybody wants to be. Which, the other side of the coin now is that people care a little less about the WYSIWYG because, yeah, we know your guys have whatever the best weapon loadout is because that's the only one that anybody would reasonably take. However, on the flip side, because there are things that have unlimited special weapons and the special weapons are free, then if someone needs it to be Super WYSIWYG, they have to go and buy extra kits, and so the cost of this entire thing goes up.
Yeah,
for no reason. But I miss the Wargear costing because it was kind of fun to say, well, these guys over here are going to have all bolt guns, nothing special, so that I can afford to have this squad over here have an extra Melta or whatever.
Yeah.
You know? And I think that's good. And I think
I miss it.
I miss it. And also, now that we've got good apps from
It's
Games
possible.
Workshop, yeah. I know the Wargear was complicated when you had to do it on a spreadsheet or you had to do it on Battlescribe or whatever. It'd be super easy, barely an inconvenience now that we've got good apps.
Yeah.
So that's my first thing. I want the Wargear to cost because the cheese is a little bit baked into just being able to take all the best stuff all the time. Do you have anything?
I do. So I think that something that could fix 40K is more content presentation. Honestly, I was going to say more content, but it's honestly, we all remember the day when Warhammer announced that it was doing the streaming stuff. And then next thing you know, everybody who was doing Warhammer stuff on YouTube started getting NDAs left and right. You know, if they made any fan animations, there's NDA for you. If you make some art, it's NDA for you. And a lot of those people, the really good ones, ended up taking a job for Games Workshop. That was the idea, that they were going to help from inside and make it better and give us more stuff. But here we are, and I'm not saying they're not doing that, because they are. We just had Warhammer Tides come out, and it looks dope. But this is the first Warhammer animation in, I think, almost a year, 9 months, something like that. And it's, I mean, I get that they're trying to do quality, and it's important for quality, but come on. I mean, I was actually a Warhammer Plus subscriber until recently, and they gave us quite a bit of content, but honestly, it was the same amount of content I expect from a YouTube channel. Yeah, I mean, you're swapping your Warhammer Plus out for a verified Twitter. Exactly. At this stage. Like that's where we are. I agree with you. That thing does not seem to be worth what you're paying. And I mean, it makes sense too. Like, if I'm trying to be a games company, juggle all that, I don't want to be some sort of video content studio. That sounds hard. Yeah, they need to just kind of pick some people, give them their office, give them their stuff, let them do their things. Some people for painting, some people for videos, stuff like that. Well, they're going to let Amazon do it. There you go. That's what I'm hoping, that Amazon and Henry Cavill will come and save our lives.
Back to fixing the rules. I have some thoughts about
Yes.
Torrent and Blast stuff.
Ooh, say it, sir.
All right. It is my opinion that the D6 hit wound save system that we have in 40K breaks down around the time you have about 50 dice. In the case of Torrent, it's even worse because you take out the hit and now you've got even less of that siphoning system to function. And so you can get some crazy outputs for units that are cheap as chips. Part of this is, again, the Wargear not costing anything, but the other thing is that it's fundamentally a little bit of a bad deal. Because the weight of dice gets so large that your tank suddenly dies to flamers, to I don't know what.
Never had it happen.
I mean, there some of the weapons that can absolutely nuke stuff are kind of funny if you think about how they even would function. And it's like, well, that probably shouldn't be taking down everything they look at, but they do. And the issue is that you roll D6 number of shots for every unit that has the weapon. So if you've got a whole unit where every single guy has a flamer, which doesn't sound much like a sort of thing that may exist. Like, imagine you're a guy in Vietnam and you're with a unit of dudes walking through the jungle, right? And all of you have got these bombs strapped to your back. That's not how anybody would do it. You'd have one guy, maybe two, and the rest of them would be the support of those guys to make sure that they don't get shot. And that's how it is in Chaos Space Marines, and I've been told that that's how it used to be with tactical squads and stuff, where you could have like a special weapon per 5, and I think that's maybe the better way to do it, but I have an even better way to do it. I think that on things like Blast and Torrent, anything that has like, you get X amount of some dice, D3, D6 amount of number of shots. You should still get the Blast in the case of Blast. The Torrent, the buff is that you don't have to roll a hit. Okay? I think you should only have the 1d6. If you have 5 guys that have a flamer or 5 guys that have a blast weapon...
5d6.
No. Only 1d6. And let's say you get 1 extra shot for each guy. Then as you take wounds and kill guys, you'll have less additional shots from them, but you still get your d6. Now let's say you have 2 guys with d6 hit weapons, right? You kill one, you still have it. Once he's dead, then it's gone. So you can have multiple units with it, so that you could then absorb multiple hits and not have to kill your guy, you see, and keep your blast or your torrent weapon. And I think it's a nice idea to have, say, again, if you have 3 of them, then you've got D6 plus 2 shots, plus the blast number. But get away from this 5d6 shots plus the blast on all of them, because that's the other part of it. Is if you've got a unit of 20 and I've got 5 blast dudes,
auto delete.
Yeah, because off the rip, I've got 4 times 5. There's 20 shots before I've ever rolled a d6.
Just play better, Shane.
No, it's. I'm talking about this for me too. I don't want it either. Now, everybody will jump up and say, "Well, that's just going to make all the blast and all the torrent unplayable." No, it won't. They'll be really cheap. Imagine if a flamer costs hardly anything for Wargear, and the Wargear costs now when you have 4 points to get you to 2,000, you'd be like, you know what, a little flamer over here. It'd be fun. It would encourage you to build all your dudes different too.
There you go.
All right. I got another one. This one is one that I don't want.
Okay.
I don't ever want to see it.
What do you not want?
Oh, this is a spicy one, Casey.
Oh boy, here we go.
I don't want alternating activations.
Explain.
All right. 40K is I go, you go.
Yes.
Turn 1, I do all my stuff. I kill some of your stuff, and it never gets to do anything. And that may suck. But I like that better than all manner of activation syncing mechanics in games. Do you know what I mean by an activation sync?
I have no idea.
Okay. In games that are alternating, what happens is I may have more guys than you.
Uh-huh.
And so there will be mechanics to help you, since, say, I've got 10 activations versus only your 5.
Right.
There will be things where you get to have some little piece of an activation for every couple of mine after all yours are gone. The problem is that because I've got 10 and you've only got 5, I can take my less useful stuff and say, okay, he's activating. He does nothing. Your turn again. And I eat through your 5, getting to see where you go, getting to see what you do before I activate my useful stuff, with the foresight of you being done.
Right.
I hate that.
Huh.
I hate that whole thing. I hate the idea that I hate when in I Go You Go games you have this happen where it's a new turn, you move a powerful thing, and it does a thing. I am inclined to want to eliminate that powerful threat. However, because it's already gone, it's unlikely to be able to go again, depending on the game system. Therefore, I have to just ignore that. Or I'm often incentivized to ignore that because the stuff that will activate soon is more important because they've done, they're an unknown variable. That thing's already gone. It's done its damage. As long as I figure out a way to deal with it before it gets to go again, I find that to be antithetical to the spirit of combat. Versus, all my stuff goes, it does what it does, and then now it's your turn. Or all your stuff goes, it does what it does, I'm left to deal with the fallout of that, but them's the breaks. I like that better than all these various ways. In Kill Team, in the last version of Kill Team, the new version of Kill Team's got a different way that it's going to work, but if you were behind in activations and you were already done and then your opponent still had some, for every 2, you got a guy to do an Overwatch where he gets to shoot. But it can only be a guy that is eligible to shoot, and he's got to be able to have eligible targets. So anybody with a pulse is just like, well, you've only got one guy that could possibly do this, and I'm just going to not walk out there in front of him. And so it became totally moot. So I don't ever want to see alternating activations in 40K, despite what a large number of people on the internet say they want. What else do you have?
More, how do I say this? A better and more broad style of refresh on the models. Now, don't get me wrong, they've done it like, you've seen the new Blood Angels box. They did a whole swath of new models. I mean, geez. But, a couple months back, we had just the Dante. Before that, we had a Mephiston, like, a little while before that. It was like, okay, it's weird. But then you've got, like, look at these Eldar Warp Spiders over here that are 30 years old now. And if you told me they were made out of metal, I'd probably believe you. Because
you want them to put out more models?
No, I don't. It's not that I don't want them to put out more models. I just want them to be a little bit more consistent because, like what they do with the Blood Angels box, they did all these models in one box and they said, here's all of the stuff. Have fun. But then you've got like 2 models from the Eldar like last year. And then they've got another model people really like that's 30 years old that hasn't even been updated yet. I mean, how long was it until the Imperial Guard got updated?
So, I know why they don't do that.
Money.
It makes more sense to put models out with rules because a not insignificant amount of the player base is interested in what is good and what is new for the game. Like, they do what you're saying for, like, Space Marine captains. They put out one
Yeah.
every couple of days, it seems like. Whereas it's the exact same dude. He just looks a little different, so you can have some variety.
Yeah.
And that's fine. I also see how if they put out a new, if they put out a new minor Tau character,
Yeah, right.
like, for who? For what?
Yeah.
For why?
Which I get.
Because honestly, the orcs are pretty popular, and they kind of do that with them. Like, you just look up and it's like, hey, there's a new war boss, another one, because enough people like that. I mean,
Eldar niche, so I get
yeah,
that.
I know one
yeah.
person that plays Eldar, and yeah, he'd probably like some fresh stuff, but he's about to get it. He's about to get it. With regard to guard, I mean, dudes in combat fatigues look like dudes in combat fatigues, and tanks. I mean, I could see them never updating the
I'm surprised they
Lehman
did.
Russ. Like, now that it's plastic, like, that thing's not going bad.
Right. The only thing is, I just, with the Eldar, I get why they did it. You don't have a lot of Eldar players, but at the same time, 30 years? 30 years, man.
That does feel like a long time.
That's too long.
At some point, you think somebody would have gone to the 3D modeling software and just grabbed whatever and been like, and here they are.
Right, and that's what I
then again,
I liked about
maybe that is the barrier, is that these things are so old that we don't have any files on them. We're gonna have to make these from scratch, and that's gonna take time and effort.
That's funny.
And then 7 people are gonna buy them. I've got one more
Give it to us.
thing that I would like changed in 40K. Also, me and the homie Austin, after that game, he was like, "Man, I'm sorry. I thought I didn't really realize we were bringing memes." And I was, he said, and I was trying to get used to this kind of new army. He said, because that was when we counted up how many Dark Lances he actually had, and it turned out to be 24 of them.
Jeez.
And he was like, "Yeah, this is crazy." And we got to look in, and we found that there are some spots where this unit you can only take one, but this unit is unlimited. And I said, I wonder if we just said, "Hey, you can only have one," what would happen? And he's like, "I kind of feel like it might balance right out." So we may play again with the exact same list, except he'll
swap out some rules.
Yeah, he'll just say that these guys only have one Dark Lance and then an assortment of the other weapons, and we'll see. Because that, by the way, guys, I know this sounds like heresy to the sweaty guys, but you can just do that. And here's one that may be fun to just do sometime. I would like, having played Old World, having heard about it in Horus Heresy, I would like failed charges to do something.
Ooh.
I would like a failed charge to move your unit somewhere. Even if there's like a reactive move possibly from the enemy, I think that'd be neat. Wouldn't it? Just to give...
Like move them closer or move them away or just...
I think you probably have to move toward the thing you were charging.
Yeah,
and
it's a charge, yeah.
Yeah, and then maybe they run
maybe
out
like do a battle shock test if they fail?
I don't know. I don't know what it would look like because...
Ooh. What an interesting idea.
Well, think about this. What you want to avoid is people taking their Terminators and they move 5, right?
Yeah.
Getting them just 12.
Ooh.
And then they're like, "I'm going to charge." And then they roll 9. And then they move their Terminators up 9. They never had any intent to actually
get there,
make that charge, right? But the idea that they just stand there is silly, right? It's like, well, what are we talking about? They got to go somewhere, don't they? And when you fail a charge in Old World, the charge is your movement plus the highest of 2 dice rolls, 2d6s. And then the movement, if you don't make it, is just the dice roll. So I like that. But again, you want there to be some sort of penalty for the free movement. So maybe you're right. Maybe they move and there's a battle shock. But then the battle shock doesn't seem like enough of a deterrent for that for having tried the 10, the 12,
arm,
etc. So I wonder how you would do that. Could there be a scenario where with long bomb charges that are failed if you... I think the reactive move is the key. Okay, here, I got it. What if you rolled the charge, you failed the charge, the enemy gets to move,
Ooh.
and then you move an amount, possibly the lowest of the two dice? Maybe they move the higher of the two dice?
What if you lose a model?
No, I don't like that because
Don't like that? Okay.
yeah. What if Angron fails a charge?
Angron's not going to fail a charge.
I mean, you gonna kill Angron because Angron wanted to try for a 10?
Funny.
I think there's interesting stuff to be discussed here because what if there was some scenarios where you both get a movement, which could explain how the charge is unsuccessful. Let's say you fail the charge, so you're not going to get the charge bonus, full stop. So you both get a movement. What if, in an effort to stop you from getting that extra movement, let's say you're battle shocked and then nothing stops your opponent from moving into you. And now you're in fight normal, so they would get to select a unit before you, so they'd get to try to chop up your Terminators, and they would have stopped your movement because, like I said, they get to move first, I think. I think that'd be good, because they could run away or whatever. These are just ideas, folks. Get in the comments and let me know what you think. We're about out of time. Casey, do you have anything for an exclusive Space Marine segment?
Yes. For this exclusive Space Marine segment, Shane,
Casey?
did you know
Probably not.
that a Space Marine can forsake his chapter for Death Watch service?
Oh, he could just volunteer.
Yeah, he could join the Death Watch, and then he can just say, bye, I'm never coming home.
Wow.
Tour duty's not over.
We'll see you next time here at 40K Fanatics. Once again, look us up on X, get in the comments of the YouTube video or wherever you find us, and let us know what you think about these ideas for rule changes. I don't think that we've done anything terribly spicy today, but let me know what you think of them. Who knows? Maybe you and I should run a game with these changes and just see what happens.
Stay fanatical, folks.